You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now. Croatia's so-called second golden generation took them to the runners-up spot in the 2018 World Cup, and the coach, Zlatko Dalic, and many of the team are still available. But Croatia's recent results have been less impressive, even with a wealth of quality to draw on. Their 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-1-2 diamond formations boast a strong spine, with the excellent Dominik Livakovic in goal, behind a strong defence with lots of tournament experience. The midfield, featuring Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic and Marcelo Brozovic, runs the show, looking to retain possession before effecting openings down the flanks. Croatia use big, strong runners like Ivan Perisic out wide, who try to burst past the opposition fullbacks before crossing high or cutting it back for the striker or on-rushing midfielders. The wide players will also cut in field to create scoring chances for themselves. If Croatia build more through the centre, then the fullbacks will offer the width. The key man is obviously Modric. He'll drop deep to create from alongside the centre-backs, drift wide right to play raking balls into the box or up the line in the channels, and his defensive work rate helps guard that flank too. Generally, Croatia will press and look to counter-attack at pace, having won back possession, with Modric excelling at this. Now, Croatia do have issues up front. There have been a number of injuries this year to possible forwards, and so much will depend on who is fit. Dalic isn't blessed with much depth in defence either, beyond the experienced starters, but Croatia's midfield can rival anyone's. And with the added tournament experience of 2018, the group of players as a whole will be a tough proposition. Jaroslav Šilhaví's Czech Republic side is consistent and well organised, with a little more flair than perhaps given credit for. The basic shape is a 4-2-3-1 with inverting wide attackers and strong overlapping fullbacks, especially Vladimir Coufal on the right. The midfield is anchored by the superb Tomáš Souček, whose driving runs, long-range shooting and aerial presence make him an asset in both boxes. Souček and fellow midfielder Alex Kral will shuttle and screen, allowing the fullbacks to push up, but will also get into the box. Ahead of them, Vladimir Darida will roam from the 10 position, pushing ahead of the striker as well as drifting wide to assist the wing play. The Czech Republic's line should be led by Patrik Schick, a strong all-round forward who is another good aerial presence but who can also link play well on the ground and finish capably. The Czechs will look to get forwards for crossing opportunities, adding the opposite-sided attacker to the box, and create a lot from late runs. They're also effective in the box, with a number of tricky technical players who don't panic but work neat passes to find a man in space for the shot. Although they like to be quick and direct, this technical ability makes them especially dangerous once the ball is in the attacking third. Defensively, the Czech team will use their front four to press and keep the back six solid and compact, especially with that screening double pivot. They are vulnerable to quick runs in behind their centre-backs though, and lack a little quality in that department. Gareth Southgate has moved away from the 3-5-2 that England used in the World Cup and seems very likely to use a 4-3-3 at the Euros. England at their best are a fluent, quick counter-attacking side. There is pace and quality on the flanks, where the wide attackers will cut in field or drop, allowing the fullbacks to push up on the overlap. Harry Kane will drop from the central striking role to play creative passes from deep before moving forwards, although his occasional absences from the box do put an onus on other runners getting forwards to support attacks. In midfield, there is still a balance to be found. England have often used two quite conservative midfielders, which affords the back four protection but can leave Mason Mount with a lot to do in terms of linking play to the front three. Should England opt for a more attacking midfielder though, Declan Rice will have a lot of work to do protecting a backline who can play themselves into trouble. Now, England want to play out from the back in possession and press, which they can do very effectively when out of possession. This emphasis on playing out means that Jordan Pickford is likely to play in goal despite his mixed club form and injury absences this season, as Southgate trusts his passing more than that of the other options. Perhaps England's biggest issue is in selection. While up front and at right back there are plenty of options, central defence is still an area where one or two injuries will have an outsized effect. Nonetheless, England start among the favourites in 2021 and, as ever, with enormous expectation. Scotland, under Steve Clarke, have reached their first Euros since 1996 and first tournament of any kind since 1998, but face stiff competition from a tough group. They've recently used a 3-5-2, although Clarke has set up as a 4-3-3 as well. But the strongly preferred three-man back line allows the selection of Scotland's two best players, Andy Robertson at wing-back and Kieran Tierney as left-sided centre-back. Both are superb attacking defenders capable of crossing from anywhere. Tierney's positioning allows Robertson to push higher and act as Scotland's predominant attacking outlet, but Tierney will also get forward on a fluid, dangerous left-hand side. John McGinn will push forwards from the 10 slot ahead of the midfield double pivot in attack and defence. While Scotland vary their pressing dependent on opponent, McGinn and strikers Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams all press well. Dykes is sometimes partnered by a player who turns out as a winger for their club side. This gives Scotland more of a 3-4-3 shape, with plenty of drifting from McGinn and Dykes' strike partner. Scott McTominay's position will also be interesting. Clarke has used him as a centre-back on the right of the three, but he can also anchor midfield, and much will depend on who else is fit and selected. McTominay brings leadership and experience, while his presence at the back means Scotland have two wide centre-backs capable of progressing the ball well. Scotland's weaknesses are an over-reliance on the left side and McGinn to produce quality attacking moments, and a lack of depth in central midfield. Despite world-class players in a couple of positions, surviving the group would be a major triumph. If you like this video, please subscribe to Tifo to help us reach 1 million subscribers. The Athletic brings you the best sports journalism in the world in a personalised experience, connecting you with the stories and teams that you care about the most. There's coverage of 13 sports, plus direct access to world-class journalists through live Q&As, discussions and podcasts. Not to mention, it's all ad-free. And you can try it now for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.